All right. Welcome to the show, Ash.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for having me. It's an honor for me to be here.
Yes. All right. So just tell the people a little bit about you and what you do.
So, well, first of all, thank you for taking the time, and thank you, the audience, for even allowing me an opportunity to speak. I like to think of myself like I'm a kid who got stuck in the age 12 years of age, but I've built multiple tech companies. I made my first million at age 26, got into artificial intelligence, and one thing led to another. But then in my late 20s, I actually was diagnosed with three what they thought brain tumors at first. And then it turned out they're not brain tumors. They thought it might be other things causing it, like RCVS or Lyme disease. At some point, they thought it might be HIV. At some point, they basically came back and said it's multiple sclerosis. It's a rare form of multiple sclerosis as far as we can tell. And I saw 23 of the best surgeons possible. And, it kind of changed my life. I was on the verge of taking my company public, George. And then, obviously as an immigrant, I wasn't born here. So I got an opportunity to work, employ Americans and everything else. And that's how I got my citizenship. And with all that said, my entire goal was taking my company public. Well, one day told me, kiddo, this might be your last 6 months. It really changed my life. And it's been 5 years so far, knock on wood. I'm still alive and kicking, trying to do my best to be a useful member of this society before that clock hits 000,
Right. And I can tell a difference because even just looking at your social media, I honestly didn't know what you do, right? I'm like, but this guy is unique, right? And from that experience you had, I can't say you wish it on everybody, but the person you became, is that if everybody get that feeling?
I don't know if anybody on here is into country music or not, but there's a country song out there that at some point somebody sent to me, and it said something like, I wish everybody gets the chance to live life as if they're dying, right? So you don't have to, God forbid, go through what I went through, but at the end of the day, if you realize, because my condition is not special to me, is it? Right. I don't know which one of these days is going to be my last. Do you know which one of these days is going to be your last?
Yeah.
So you're in the same exact position as I am. So hear it from me, brother. I'm giving you the same diagnosis I got. I don't know which one of these days is your last. And this could very well be your last 6 months. So if you get to wake up tomorrow, you're blissful as hell. Every morning I wake up, I'm just like, no freaking way. One more day, okay? This is a beautiful world. What do I want to play with? People ask me all the time, what do you do? It's like, play? I don't know how to say it. Right? I got my hands in personal financing. I still own a tech company. I have a business accelerator. I own a media company. Obviously, I have hundreds of thousands of followers on social media. So I'm a kid. I play. Like, you got a toy, I got a toy. You want to play? Let's play. Like, I don't care what you do because I don't fit into these categories anymore. For me, that 30,000-foot view, that spiritual life, while still keeping my place down here on earth, knowing that I'm a capitalist. I like money. I'm a boy. I like my toys. I can't lie about that, right? So I want to have enough money so I can do what I need to do. But also at the end of the day when they told me, kiddo, this might be your last 6 months, I was looking at my smart, stupid phone, and I was thinking, my Bank of America app, that number right there, that can't save me. And all my life, I focused on this. My father, George, gave me a challenge when we came to the United States. Obviously, we're struggling financially tremendously. And at some point, I was like, Dad, you got 2 bachelors, 2 masters, and a PhD from USC in economics. But if you can't figure out the economy or a family, what are we doing? And he challenged me. He was like, kiddo, you're 16, you're 17, you can work. If I can't become a millionaire, maybe you can. Why don't you do it? And that's just what I really focused on, right? I focused on it, and he was like, you know what? Here's the other condition. You can't do it one at a time you're 70 or 80 years old. You got to do it by the time you're 30. I was like, Dad, how old were you when you made your first million? He's like, irrelevant. Because number one, you got me as your mentor. Number two, you got technology. I didn't have technology when I grew up. I was like, you know what, Dad, I respect you, but I'm not going to use you as my mentor. I want to use mentors that have been there and have done it before. You haven't done it in America. You've done it in Morocco, in Kenya, you've done it in India, you've done it in the Middle East, you've done it in 30 different countries, and I respect that, 100%. You haven't done it in America. So let me lead it, right? With all the respect, Dad, you're iPhone 6, I'm iPhone 11. You got to realize that I just naturally I'm a better version of you because you raised me well, right? So I started focusing on that. But the problem was, George, is I got caught up in the drama of that money. You make the first $100,000, then the next thing they say, like, yo, where are you going to make your first $250,000? You make your first $250,000, it's like, yo, where are you going to get half a million? $500,000 has a really good ring to it. Why not? When
Right.
you make your $500,000, it's like, yo, but $1 million, 7 figures, that's where it's at. You make 7 figures too. It's like, okay, now 5, now 10 million. And the natural progression is becoming a publicly traded owner. But the truth of the matter, from everything I've seen in 7 different countries I've lived, George,
Right.
that multi-billionaire that bought yet just another yacht, his happiness level is from 0 to 100%. And that poor El Salvadorian farmer that his goat gave him milk for the first time, his
Right.
happiness levels are also from 0 to 100%. So I realized in this Bank of America app, this number shouldn't dictate how I live my life anymore, because I am dying and I want to realize that, and I want to live to my absolute fullest potential however I want to. I don't care about anything else. You with me on that?
Nah, man, that was a lot to take in. So, all right, that part where you say, you know how I'm the same way. It's never enough. Like, I'm a real estate investor. I'll be like, okay, if I get 5 houses, I'm good to go. Once you get that level, it's like, nah, somebody got 10 over there, so I need 10. So just being, I played sports all growing up my life, right? So I'm just naturally competitive. But when is enough enough, you know?
Let me tell you something I learned from a British philosopher. He said, you can't take anything you do in life seriously, but you have to take everything sincerely. You play ball, right?
Right.
Let's say you and I start playing ball together. If I take this damn thing too seriously, I end up risking my own health, or I end up hurting you potentially because I'm taking it too seriously. But on the flip side of the same coin, if I don't take it seriously, the game's going to be whack. At some point, you're going to, come on, bro, play for real. So if I take it sincerely, then I won't focus on the drama of this game. Winning or losing, it's irrelevant. We play this game so you and I can become friends. We bond together. We're healthier as a species, right?
Right.
But we're so caught up in this stupid little digit on the board that sometimes we forget what we do this game with. Here's something I would like to tell you, and I want your audience to pay attention to this. You and I coming up, they teach us constantly what time it is. I got to a level that I don't give a crap what time it is. I want to know how the clock works. I never want to be a running back. I don't want to be the best quarterback. You know who I want to be? I want to be NFL. I want to be NFL, not even coach. I want to be NFL so other billionaires play in my game. Does that make sense to you? I'm not interested in knowing what time it is. I want to know how the clock works. I don't want to be the best student. I want to own the education system. That's who I am. That's how I want to be, right? And that's what I would love for you and your audience to also focus on too, because everybody, especially the media, everybody always tells you what time it is. But if we're smart, we go above that and we realize, okay, there's a story behind the story. I want to know how the clock works. I don't care what time it is. Because if I know how the clock works, then I can figure out what time it is. But if you keep telling me what time it is, you're never going to tell me how the clock works. Does that make sense?
No, it makes total sense. So basically, you know, with the time you're saying everybody mostly go to work at 8 o'clock in the morning and get off at 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening.
Yep.
And what I came to realize, like, I just stopped working last year. I was working mailman. And basically my best time to work, like far as my brain operating, is 7 in the morning to about 2 p.m. After 2 p.m., like you said, I don't need nothing serious going on. I just don't, you know? And that's, I think some people might be night owls. They might work best from 12 a.m. to 5 a.m. But this job is in the middle of the day, in a time that you're not at your best, you know, at your best self, basically.
Right, 100%. What time it is that you got to get a job 8 to 5.
Right.
But how the clock works is that Henry Ford had a model, not the model, a model. But everybody else got obsessed with it, right? And I like Henry Ford, don't get me wrong, but come on, man. 9 to 5 doesn't work for everybody. There are cats like you and I that we just run really hard. Like I wake up around 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't know why. I just naturally do. It's just kind of like part of my DNA, right? Not always, but I wake up around 3 o'clock majority of the nights. And I actually get a lot of my stuff done between 3 o'clock in the morning and 7 o'clock in the morning. And I take a little bit of nap. So 9 to 5 doesn't work for me. 9 to 5 doesn't work for you. And here's what I want your audience to pay attention to. They teach us what time it is, but I want everybody to focus on how the clock works. And I can't say that enough, because I'll ask you a question. Is there night or day?
Yes.
No, there's not. That's what time it is. That's what they tell us. But the sun is shining all the time. Tell me it's not. It's just an illusion. It's just a shadow. People worry about, what if I say the wrong thing? Brother, I believe in God, and God has never created a wrong branch of a tree. God has never created a wrong river. God has never created a wrong star. So I can't do no wrong. I don't care what anybody says. I am who I am, and I've got a mission that I've got to produce, just like a tree. Trees work 24/7. They produce oxygen for people like you and I. If it wasn't because of these trees, I wouldn't have survived. So for me, if my body is dying, then I got to realize, what's the bigger purpose here? What am I trying to do? A Buddhist gentleman said, kiddo, you're never going to die. You realize that we live in a galaxy, right? I was like, yeah. He's like, you know how wide this galaxy is? I was like, I think it's about 100,000 light years apart. If you travel as fast as light, which is over 1 million miles per second, 1 million miles per second, it might still take you 30 to 100,000 years just to go from one side of the damn thing to the other. And you know how many other galaxies are out there besides ours?
How many? 2
trillion.
Jeez.
So you can't tell me 9 to 5 is it. That's not life. That's virtual life. And I get it. I appreciate it. Corporate work, that stuff works. But that's what time it is. I don't care what time it is. Let's figure out how the clock works.
Right. Oh, man. I get your DNA. It's like, oh, that's what I was going to say. I almost forgot my question. So when you said, you believe in God, that means you got faith in the things that you don't see. So what I mean by that is you still have to provide for your family. You have to make money somehow, some way. But at the same time, if you're moving in this faith, say you want to, in your heart, because you know this world's bigger than you, you're only here for temporary. In your heart, you want to give out 100 bikes this Christmas. But you don't really see the money there. But in your heart it's telling you to do it. How do you distinguish between the two?
So a couple of things. Numbers are a virtual concept for me. Has number 9 ever called you, say, hey, George, how you doing?
No.
Has number 11 done anything for you?
Nah.
So I want to give out stuff that helps other families. Do I want to give 100? I don't know. If it happens to be 99, I'm okay with it. If it happens to be 100,000, I'm okay with it, right? So I don't get caught up in the drama of being a human being, brother. Because you ask a tree outside your house, like, hey man, how many kilograms of oxygen are you putting out a day? What's your goal? It won't tell you that because it doesn't work that way, right? I trust in a higher power. You might call it God, you might call it universe, you might call it karma, you might give it whatever name you want to give it. And that's relevant. Here's the truth. You and I push air through these couple of muscles here called vocal cords, and we make noise. I say, you say it back, right? So whatever name you want to give it, you just got to realize there's been 13.74 billion years that we've become an observable universe since Big Bang. And ever since Big Bang, actually, our universe is picking up speed and it's actually going wider than smaller. We haven't slowed down. Every single second that goes by, we're picking up more and more speed. So the truth is, I believe in a higher power and I want to do my job.
Right.
But like the sun, like the rest of it, the wind doesn't care where it blows. I don't care who I help. I didn't know you from Adam.
Right.
Yeah, you want to hop on my podcast? I'm like, brother, thank you very much for the opportunity. I don't care who you are. I'm not trying to sell you nothing. You're not trying to sell me anything, right? Because I'm not in your neck of the woods. You're not in my neck of the woods, and that's okay.
Right.
You got a toy, I got a toy, right? I was watching a bunch of kids. As a Middle Eastern myself, as a minority, I really, truly love how business is done here in America, especially when it comes to our kids. You look around with the kids, like they don't give a crap if you're Buddhist, Jewish, white, black, Latino, Middle Eastern, Asian. They just play. You got a toy, I got a toy. Let's play together, right? And that's how I look at it. If I want to help somebody today, I don't say, you know what, I want to give $100,000 away. No, bullshit. You say that to yourself because you want to create a barrier so you don't do it. You want to help kids today, go outside your block right now. Hit up people on Instagram. You can literally search hashtag kids. You can search hashtag veterans. You can search anything and everything you want. And you can hit up a bunch of people and say, sister, I am dying and I would love to make your day a little bit brighter to make myself feel better. What can I do for you? And I promise you, George, 9 out of 10 times, nobody's going to ask you for anything. People just want to have a shoulder to cry on from time to time. They just want a friend. That's all they want. And the more you put yourself out there because you want to help, the better it is. And that goes back to faith, because the truth of the matter is, George, every single human being has faith. It's just a matter of what you put your life into, right? You have faith that if you look at that screen, you're going to see me.
Right.
Boom, there I am. Every single day you take a step between here and your, let's say, kitchen. You have faith that that next step you take, the floor is not going to abolish underneath you and you're not going to fall through a crack. Right. And that's where you take the next step. Right before you jump into the water, right? You take deep breath, you fall in. Why? Because you have faith there's enough oxygen out there. Because if you weren't sure if there was not enough oxygen out there or not, I promise you're not going to do that. You're not going to jump in. So we all have faith. The truth is, the question is, what do you put your faith into that helps you? You might say, you know what, the whole God thing is not mine. More power to you. If you're an atheist, you believe in yourself, I'm cool with that. Whatever you have faith in, I'm cool with that. I just make a noise, G-O-D, and that's what I call it so other people know what I'm referring to. But if you look around you, human beings, we have an obsession with naming. Oh, that's a bookshelf. That's a chalkboard. That's a keyboard. That's called drugs. That's called medication. That's called the blah, blah. Like, what is wrong with us? Why do we always have to obsess over names? I don't care what air you push out from here, but you and I know exactly what we're talking about. Does that answer the question?
No, definitely. And I think about it right now, I know it would be hard for you to go work a regular job. Based on the way you're talking and telling me, the most individuals probably don't get it, right?
They don't get it, but that's the problem because our ancestors never got it. You and I come from our ancestors, right? And you and I's ancestors have gone through a hell and back. If you look at the 200,000 years that have been as modern species, because we haven't been modern species just until the last 200,000 years.
Right.
When did we come up with 9 to 5?
Yeah.
So what about all my ancestors? Nobody else worked in 9 to 5 and everybody's fine.
Yeah, I wonder who decided that that's the best time to work, you know?
Henry Ford. Henry Ford came up with it because that's what worked for him. He wasn't even not 9 to 5. He was doing a lot more than that until the labor unions came. I was like, whoa, man. Like 8 hours a week should be enough, man. 40 hours a week should be enough. Because again, you and I's ancestors, we didn't work. Like, show me one line out there that keeps killing deers when it doesn't need it. They just don't. Right. You and I's ancestors, we used to go and just hunt for our food. And then the rest of the time is playtime. Family time. That's what we do, right? That's what we've been doing that for the past 199,500 years. And boom, all of a sudden we got to industrial revolution and they're like, oh, everybody's got to work a 9 to 5. Everybody's got to have a 401k. Everybody's got to do this and that, whatever. And I get that, right? 30,000 foot view. I don't subscribe to that ideology.
You know why? Because people were brainwashed. You know, I worked at a post office for 5 years, and one of my goals while I was there, I used to hang around all the older guys, maybe like 55 and older, because I wanted to know what their mistakes, what they would have did at my age, you know, and just learning, just listen. I was like a fly on the wall for 5 years. And one of the things was, I used to say, I'm not going to be here for long. I'm just doing it until I get my real estate going. And they were like, man, you're crazy. Everybody had a plan, but you kind of get stuck because you're making pretty good money. So it's like, I can't stop making this money, you know, because I didn't leave the job making the same amount of money I was making there, right? So that's one of the things, people were brainwashed. You got to work a job for 30 years. And that's what this podcast is about, like doing what you really enjoy to do, you know, because you're only here for maybe 70, 80 years, you know. So
I talked about this in my TED Talk. I said, if you were to take a vacation in Hawaii, for example, you're on an island, you don't know when you're going to leave, but you know you're only there for a little bit of time.
Right.
Don't you want to get out? Don't you want to see a few places? Don't you want to take care of a few things while you still have a minute? That's the trick here with life as well, you know?
Yeah, you mean that's like life itself right there. You don't just want to be in one place.
No, right, absolutely. The world is your playground, and you have the ability to play with anything and everything you want. Why get stuck in one thing? And you know what, George? I like crazy people, because you know who was crazy? MLK. The dude was out of his mind. Like, people like, dude, sir, that's not normal. That's not how we do it. He's like, watch me, or I'm going to do something different. You know who was crazy out of her mind? Rosa Parks. These are people that are crazy. Well, you and I are grateful because they're crazy. Steve Jobs, he was crazy. Warren Buffett, he's crazy. Like Eleanor Roosevelt, she was out of her mind crazy. Meeting with 14,000 people, dining 5,000 people at the White House per year? Right. You got to be kidding me, right? Bach, Mozart, you look at Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, all of these people, they're crazy, right? And that's why they become the top 1%, because the 99% was like, I don't know, man, you're weird. You're different, right? And they call you crazy, but crazy is good. We like crazy because that's how we built this country.
Right. Dang. Yeah. You get it, and I get it. I get what you're saying.
100%. That's a compliment. Somebody says you crazy. I'm like, I'm doing a couple of things right, huh?
And you know what? Because in your everyday world, you don't meet people that think like you. So you start to think, maybe I am hoping for too much or wishing for too much, because the people in my surroundings, they just want a house, a car, go on a couple of vacations a year, the typical family life.
For sure. But truth is, you do what you do, and then you see it work, and you got to be respectful to other people. But you say, you know what? I'm probably smarter than everybody else when it comes to managing my life. But nobody else knows me like I know myself. Even Ma, love you, Ma, if you're listening to this. But truth is, you haven't been with me 24/7.
Right.
So I'm the only one that really knows me. I don't know you either, brother. I don't know what's right or wrong for you. But what I do know is that I have faith in you to figure it out for yourself, fine? The only thing I say is that think outside the box, right? And that's why I keep going back. Everybody tells you what time it is. Stop caring for that. You don't want to be the best video gamer, trust me. What you want to do is create a video game so other people playing it, right? The people who are really winning are the people behind NBA. You and I could be great student athletes, but at the end of the day, they're only teaching us what time it is. I want to know how the clock works. I don't care for none of this, right? I don't want to be rich. I want to be Federal Reserve.
Wow. Yeah.
That's just what I learned. Something I never knew as an immigrant. I came here. Like, if it's the first time you're playing football, you're going to have to learn the rules of the game, right? And when you start playing the rules of the game, you're like, okay, that's how it works. That's what's up. Like, that's what I want to do.
So when you got sick, was that the part where it clicked, where you started thinking like this, or were you already kind of thinking like this before you went to the hospital?
I wasn't thinking like that at all. No, I was caught up in the same drama too. 9 to 5, 8 to 5, 8 to 8, 8 to 9, like whatever it was, and just build this, build that, buy a house, buy a car. And at the end of the day, you buy a couple of cars, you're like, I'm getting broker and broker every day. You know who's getting rich? BMW is getting rich. I don't want to have a nice car. I want to be a nice car. That's what I want to be, And you start kind of putting it together. You're like, okay, let's talk about slavery for a second. Was it whites that owned slaves, or was it the top 1%? How the clock works is the rich against the poor all the time, but then they dilute the theme to tell us, yo, no, it's whites against the rich, it's whites against the blacks, right? Or it's the browns against the blacks, or it's like the Middle Easterns against, it's the Muslims against the Christians. Like, whoa. You go back in history, you look at, for example, Christians against Jews, it was all the Greeks. It was the Greek Empire pushing that agenda to polarize people, because as soon as you can polarize people, they're weaker. If I can come into your family, I can split up your family, guess what? Y'all don't have as much power anymore, right? So It's 99% of us versus that 1%, but they don't tell us that. They're a little bit smarter than the rest of us, so they keep teaching us what time it is, not how the clock works, right? And that's where my entire beef comes in with, and that's what I want to do. As long as I have a breath left in me, I'm going to teach everybody how the clock works, because that's what they want us to do, and hell no, that's not happening around here, right? I'm going to learn this game, and that's exactly what I've done here in Reno as well. I moved here in Reno, right? Reno's a little bit of a small town compared to Los Angeles, where I've been for the past 17, 18 years. And prior to that, I was in New York City, in Queens, and prior to that, I was in Middle East, Germany, London, Hamburg, Dubai, Malaysia, Singapore. I've lived around the world, right? So all of a sudden I come here, I'm playing football for the first time. If I want to have a bunch of touchdowns, I got to learn the rules of the game. So you start reading the history and you start thinking, what's in between these lines? What are they really trying to teach me? And why are they saying that, right? What's in it for them? You keep asking these questions, you keep going down these rabbit holes, and you figure out, okay, here are the movers, shakers, here are the people that actually own the world, for example, right? Reno is divided into two groups. There's old Reno, which is a lot of old money. This is like super, super conservative, good people, good human beings, but very much basically called old Reno, right? And then there's the new Reno, like the LGBTQ community. There's a lot of young cats moving here from, let's say, the Bay Area, because they can't afford $1 million house over there, but they come here, they can afford a house for $350,000, $400,000, and so on and so forth, right?
Right.
I'm probably considered as the new Reno, right? Middle Eastern, with all this beard and everything else, comes from California, comes from Los Angeles. I come here, and just this year, one of the biggest organizations that actually has access to Old Reno wanted to nominate me as the philanthropist of the year.
Wow,
that's a big honor for some kid that wasn't even born here. I don't even deserve this stuff. Who was before me? Who got nominated last year? They said, oh, the people that own the biggest hospital here.
Wow.
Right, who was the year before that? Oh, Judge so-and-so and his wife. So all of a sudden, as a kid on the block, I dress funny. You see me, like I always wear this hat. I always wear the same clothes and everything else, because when you're dying, you want to pick and choose what you want to spend your time on, right? So the new kid from LA, the millennial who dresses funny, who talks funny, who like, it's just, I'm a weird guy, right? But all of a sudden, the old Reno wants to honor me as the philanthropist of the year. And I'm pretty sure in that room that night, there's going to be probably over $1 billion worth of wealth there, right? So why are they doing that? Because I figured out how the clock works, and I start hanging out with anybody and everybody. I don't care who you are. I want to hang out with you. And if you happen to be the complete opposite of me, I still want to hang out with you, because that's where I can make the most amount of impact, right? As a minority, if, for example, God forbid happens that you are just a racist, you hate my guts, that's okay. I want to hang out with you because I want to show you I'm just a regular guy, just like the rest of you, right? Don't you and I wake up in the morning, do a bunch of shit, and then go to bed at night?
Yeah.
We're all the same. So my color exposure, my skin exposure to sun, that's the stupidest thing you can pick on to judge me as a character.
Right.
Don't offend my intelligence with that. Like, if you're going to judge me based on my beard, if you're going to judge somebody based on their height, their weight, or eye color, that's stupid. I'm sorry to say it, but that's naive. That's primitive, like, mindset. Today, we have something better, right? The reason why old Rena comes after me is because they understand that I know how the clock works. I know who the movers and shakers are. Within the first 3 months I was in this town, the mayor started following me. The city council members started following me. The city council member from the town next door took me out to lunch. Like, I'm a foreigner, man. Like, I don't even necessarily deserve to be here. Y'all are so nice to me. Why is that? Like, well,
and that's what did they see in you? And when you mean they started following you, do you mean like on social media or on social media?
On social media. And today I was having lunch with somebody, the owner of the restaurant was like, hey, can I speak with you? I was like, yes, sir. What's up? He's like, I see you on social media everywhere. You do a lot of good stuff. You help out the community, this and that, whatever. And, you know, I'm not going to lie. We were talking to some of the big boys the other night, and your name came up multiple times. I just wanted to get to know you, right? Now, understanding how the clock works, I got to drop the supply so I can increase the demand. As a child, I want to be like, oh, who is it? Who is it? Tell me, right? Like, no. If I have 100 potatoes, there are 1,000 people that want them. My price of potato goes up because there's more people that want me than I actually care for them, right? But then if I have 100 potatoes, there are only 10 people that want them, the price of potatoes are going to go down. So I'm not going to show my over-eagerness. Like, oh, that's cool, man. I appreciate that, right? But I don't care for the big boys in town to talk about me. I want to make sure the big boys in the States, I want to make sure the big boys at UN talk about me, right? Not because I have the ego, because that's how I can make an influence. MLK was MLK, and he'd always been MLK. But he didn't just talk to his own circle of friends. He said, you know what? I'm going to go across. I'm going to talk to people that don't like me, because that's how I'm going to make a change. I'm going to let these people know that I'm just a regular guy just like you, and I think we could do something better. Today, I was talking with a gentleman who's also a minority, just like me too, and he's part of this organization that helps kids with color.
Right.
The truth of the matter is that that's how we got treated, and we're not about that life anymore, right? We want to try to bring equality, right? That 13-year-old white kid that sat over there, I'm not going to try to discriminate against him. You know why? Because the power is now in my hands. When the power was in somebody else's hand, I don't know how they treated it. But I promise you, if the power is in my hands, I'm going to show you how to do it the right way as long as I possibly can. I'm not a perfect guy, but I swear to God, I'm going to try my best every single day. And I don't care who you are. If you got something to say to me, please come help me be better, because I'm not doing everything right. But as long as I put that sincerity forward, not seriousness, I'm not serious about this. I'm very sincere about it, because I know I'm going to die, right? If I can just if I could just be MLK just on my block, I'm happy with that. I don't need to be MLK for everybody. But when you have that kind of attitude, it racks up. I'll tell you the last thing too. A couple of years ago, I got contacted by a pharmaceutical company out of Russia.
Right.
They said, kiddo, like, you have this agency and everything else. We want to work with you. We're interviewing 50 other agencies. Please give us a proposal. Let us know what you can do for us.
Right.
I wrote one letter. I say, with all the respect, I declined to do business with you guys. Good luck. Guess what happened? Right off the bat, I dropped the supply because I'm like, I'm not interested in you. The demand goes higher and higher. They wrote me back quickly. That's kind of weird. That's disrespectful. I mean, we have a lot of money and this and that, whatever. So I wrote them back again. Like, I don't give a crap about your money. I'm dying. What are you going to do for the community? You're going to come to America, do business, but what's in it for the society? How am I going to tell people, hey, people, this is good for you. Go do it.
Right.
If I say you're a pharmaceutical company, we have a lot of those here. We actually only have 5% of the world's population, but we consume 75% of medication. You don't think we have enough medication? They came back. Actually, our medication is so much better because we're organic, we're holistic. There's nothing in it for us. We are actually selling a lot in Europe. I was like, but who did those studies? How do I trust it? They're like, well, here's one university, here's the other universities, this and that, whatever. You notice how the clock works? Now I'm interviewing them, so they're interviewing me. And guess who got that contract?
Wow.
We got $1 million from them, brother. And I got 100% creative control. I was like, yo, listen, I don't give a shit about who you are, what kind of money you have. This is how I do business. I need 100% creative control. You want me to do this with you? We need at least $1 million a year. Second thing is that I need to do whatever the hell I want to do. If I decided to give away half of your products for free to single moms or from my block and other people's block that unfortunately don't get necessarily the right care, I want to be able to do that. And I couldn't believe when they saw it on the dotted line, right? Again, learning how the clock works has a lot of benefits for it, right? So 30,000 foot view, I'm dying. I don't care. I'm a spiritual being. I want to be my spirit. You can lock me up in Guantanamo Bay. I swear to God, George, I'll make a good company out of that. I swear to God, will make national news. Try me. But down here on earth, I use that spiritual level saying, I don't care for this. Like, I don't care for your little papers, your dollar value. Like, you transfer some money from your account to my account, my Bank of America app shows, bing.
Right.
It doesn't change me and who I am or how I feel about myself.
So you said if right now, if your account had 100,000 and then it said, ding, you have $1 million, your emotional level, happiness of the day wouldn't change?
You're a lot more successful today than ever before, right? Did you feel any different 2 years ago than you do today?
No, not really. Not really.
I've met kids in Africa. They literally go through the same exact thing that the kids I've met in Beverly Hills. Every single one of us has self insecurities. Every single one of us deals with anxiety. Every single one of us has got beef with somebody, right? Especially ourselves. So for me, like that virtual number is not going to change you. It will help form a different perception about you, but it's not going to change you at all. So whether my little stupid Bank of America app says 1 point blah, 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 or 2 point blah, 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 or $0, it doesn't matter because down here in America, I'm safe. You grew up in Congo or Libya or Nigeria or Morocco, you realize it's not safe over there at all. You and I can't be just sitting here just all the time. Like I was born in Iran. The first couple of years of my life, Saddam Hussein was bombing our country like you've never seen.
Jeez.
We couldn't turn on lights at night, George. That's crazy. The first word I ever spoke as a child was the word bomb. Wow. Imagine that, right? And that's just how it is. Here in America, even if you don't want to work, people shove money down your throats. They call it unemployment. If you become completely out of a job and you lose your house, they still give you a house called Section 8. If you don't want to eat, you can't have money to eat, they'll give you food stamps. So for me, it's like, yo, our founding fathers have done enough. Every single one of our ancestors has done enough for me to live this good luxury life. In the past 200,000 years, there's never been one more year that was better than today. 1850 wasn't better than today. 1913 wasn't better than today. 1930 wasn't better than today. So why am I going to complain about? Especially somebody like you and I. 7.5 billion people, brother. How come you and I get to be the lucky ones to be right here, right now?
Right.
We won the lottery, bro. Like I'm chilling. I'm good. Like I don't ask for nothing else. Like I'm good. Like I don't even deserve to be here. If I had planned every inch of my life, even as a sperm myself, I don't think it was going to turn out this good, man.
Wow.
So we made it. I'm as rich as I will ever be. Like I'm good. Like you and I are in the top 1%. We talk about that top 1%, but you look around globally, we're in the top 1%. So what else do you want? If you're even richer than this, then what? So what? Where are you going to get to? You're dying anywhere. I'm telling you, end destination, you're dying. So you give up today's life for this arbitrary thing that, oh, if I had a couple more $1 million, man, I swear to God.
Right.
But the same game, like you grew up in the same exact place that I did virtually, right? When you were a kid, you were, oh man, if I just had $100, I swear to God, I'll be wealthy. Somebody gives you $100, you're like, nothing. Dude, if I had $1,000, I swear to God. You and I sit around thinking, oh, God, only if I was a billionaire.
Right.
I know billionaires. David Nazarian is a good friend of mine. His life is no different than mine. He was sitting around not too long ago, or somebody like him was sitting around not too long ago. Was like, yo, I'm so worried about this economy thing. I was like, brother, you probably have money saved up for the next 15 generations. What are you worried about? He's like,
and a billionaire would say that? That is insane.
because everything is relative. Somebody who's got $1 billion coming in, their cost is probably $950 million a year. So they're living off of a budget just like you and I do.
Wow.
That analogy I told you, from 0 to 100% satisfaction.
That sounds like stress to me, because 100, you know what I mean? It sounds like,
It's
you were responsible for a lot more, yeah.
More money,
That's
more
what I'm realizing now, because like I buy rental property, so it's like I got 10 toilets, 10 kitchens, 10 roofs, and at any moment you're responsible not just for the one you live in, but I got 9 other ones. You know what I mean?
That's why I like REITs, real estate investment trust. I invest my money in REITs because if I buy individual properties, then it's a hassle for me.
Right.
So somebody has raised $200 million and they're buying all these properties in Georgia and Florida and Arkansas and so on and so forth. They're renting them out. They're professionally managed. They take their 7% of everything else. And I got my little cut every month coming in. I'm good. I don't need anything else, right? The industry you're in, brother, it's one of the oldest industries that's been around. And that's why I admire you for doing what you're doing, because you left a comfortable, supposed secure job to do something better. And that's what I love who you are as a soul, because they asked, Steve Jobs once said, it's so much more fun to be a pirate than to join the Navy. And you're that pirate because you don't want to join the Navy anymore, right?
Right.
No offense to my Navy friends. You know I love you. But it's so much more fun to be a pirate. You were joining the Navy and the post office. But now you become a pirate because it's a lot more of a better lifestyle for you.
Right. And one of the things I got a lot of listeners that listen to my podcast. They do real estate. So one of the things you said was with the pharmaceutical company that you reversed the roles. You made them want you more than you wanted them at the end. So for a lot of people like me, when I go to the bank, it's like, please, 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 can I borrow some money to buy this house? Instead of going to the bank and making it seem like, okay, I got 100 other banks I can choose from. You guys should work with me because I'm gonna pay you this interest and you're gonna make money. If you say no, I'm gonna take my talents to a different bank, you know?
For sure, 100%. I think that's the name of the game. If I were you, I would send an email to multiple banks, right? And I'll see all of them right there. Gentlemen, ladies, pleased to meet you. I've got a deal. I'd love to basically do this and that, whatever. Please send me your best proposal. You and I have got value. Everybody shops around for our services. People shop you around all the time. So why can't we shop around our banks? They know how the clock works. We only know what time it is. And that's why they play those games with us, right? We play the same games. The truth, what I really love about the truth in this America, this country, is that it's a level playing field. Not everywhere, but it's a lot more level, trust me, than anywhere else in the entire world, right? So I get to play the same games with these boys that they get to play with me. And that's totally fine, right? Because that company wanted to interview me. I want to interview you. Why do you deserve my only precious asset that I have, which is my time? When I got my first contract with Lamborghini, you know what I did?
What?
I pinned them against Ferrari. So guys, here's what we're doing. I'm going to have to be exclusive. Do you want me to do this with him, or do you want to give me something better? And I learned that from Mr. Lamborghini himself. But Mr. Lamborghini used to be a farmer. At some point, he bought a Ferrari because he made enough money with his tractors, right? And then he wrote Enzo Ferrari at the time saying, sir, I love this car. It's my favorite car. I love it so much. But the clutch is a little bit weird. We use some of the oil that we use in our tractor, and we use it in your car, and it worked beautifully. Just want to let you know. Enzo Ferrari had too much ego. His nose was up in the air. You know what he did? He wrote Mr. Lamborghini a letter back, said, go screw yourself. You're just a stupid farmer. What do you know? And guess what Mr. Lamborghini did right after?
What?
He created a Lamborghini, the racing company, right? To kick Ferrari's butt.
Yeah.
And that's how it works, because what you do to me is what I'm going to do to everybody else, right? The first time I called the Ferrari dealership, I was like, yo, I need your 458 Italia, right? Black on black only. You got it on the shop. I want to come by and I want to come through. I want to just look at it. They laughed at me like, sir, I'm sorry. Who'd you say you are? Like, who gives a crap? I got cash. I'm buying it cash. Do you have it on the showroom floor or not? Like, sir, we don't sell this car to just nobody. You have to be a high caliber human being for us to even talk to you. Have a nice day.
Wow.
You drop the supply, so all of a sudden, my ego and everything, what do I got to do to have this car? My buddy, Jared Adams, he went to buy a Ferrari too himself. He actually talks about this. Right. You know what they did to him? It's like, sir, with all due respect, we don't think you have enough money. So you know what he did as a stupid child? Jared, you listening to that, I love you. But they told him what time it is, right? So he went to the bank with the car dealer, and he actually took out enough money to pay him. And the car dealer was like, sir, I'm surprised. I'm impressed. You are better than what I thought. But then if you realize how the clock works, they got him. They got 300 grand from him right there and then. So now if you're smarter, you're like, I'm not falling for that little cookie, man. I'm just not. I don't have that kind of ego anymore. You drive one of these cars, you realize it's miserable, man. I don't know if you've ever been to one. A loader of ground, you're always scraping the bottom. You can't even pull it up to your stupid driveway. If you got two of your buddies, you're going to have to drop off one first and go back to pick up the other one because there's not enough seat. If you have luggage, you're going to an airport, you're going to have an Uber behind you. So that way, and every time you park it somewhere, like you're worried about people scratching it, like it's not a comfortable life at all. It's like the same thing California does to the rest of us. Oh my God, come here, beautiful scenery, beautiful weather, and everything else. But they don't tell us what time it is. In California, I paid more than my fair share of taxes. I think if I'm not mistaken, my last year, if I'm not mistaken, I paid 52% in taxes.
Whoa.
So I used to joke about the fact that governor and I are 50-50 partners. And then it got to a point that I'm even taking home less because I was in Navy at the time. I was, making good money and everything else. So California doesn't tell us how the clock works, but they tell us how the time is. Like beautiful sunshine. You'll see these palm trees? But yeah, I'm going broke.
Right. So it seemed like you are a professional networker at this point. You moved to this town, you won this award. What can you say as far as people, how important is it to meet these high people in places, I guess, to get heard? Is that the purpose?
So here's what I would say. Don't focus on high people just because there's nobody high, to be honest with you. I've never met anybody. A favorite rapper of mine, he said, excuse me, if you want to see a star, don't look in Hollywood, look above, right?
Right.
If I want to see somebody high up, I look above. I don't look on the streets, right?
Right.
For me, here's the trick. You say hi to everybody, right? Small town. What you and I would have done, if you and I are both, let's say, with our kids, and do you happen to have kids or no?
Yes, I have a son.
Beautiful. Let's say you have your son, I have my baby Claire, and you and I are at a park. If they start playing together, what do you think happens first? How do you think these two kids play together, typically?
They see each other, both of them playing, they start playing with each other.
There you go.
Yeah.
So that's my trick too. What the trick is, George, is unlearn the crap people put into your head. You just kind of pushed a bunch of air out there. You called it what? Networking or something?
Yes.
Well, I don't know what networking means. I had no idea what that means. I'm just a kid that's got a bunch of toys. You got a toy, let's play. And I'll say hi to anybody and everybody, right? And when you start, so here's what my grandmother always told me, because we're moving around a lot of different countries. She always said two things. She said, number one, never take your policies with you when you go somewhere new. If you're Middle Easterns, you go to America, you don't take your policies with you because it's not going to work, right? If you're from California, you come to Texas, you don't take your policies with you because it's not going to work there, right? Number two thing that she stressed with me all the time, she said, you do right by people, you do it for a long enough time, and you don't say nothing at all, and one day you'll earn yourself an opportunity. You see a bunch of boxes out there on your neighbor's yard that need to be broken down, you go break them down. You don't leave your card, you don't even know, you say nothing. You see an overgrown lawn for an elderly homeowner, you just go mow it. And that's it. You do it for a long enough time, people starts talking. The lunch earlier that I told you about, the gentleman who was saying that the big boys are talking about me. Why? Because I do favors for people all the time, right? Well, like I told you before too, the biggest favor is most people just want to talk to you. Most people just want a friend. They want to cry to, a shoulder to cry on. So I go on Instagram, right? And I click on my magnifying glass. At the top, I type in the name of my city, Brooklyn, Bronx, whatever it may be, right? And I start going down the list and I start sending a message. Yo, my sister, I love what you're doing with your Instagram. If there's anything I can do for you, I'm not looking for money. I'm not looking for anything. If I can do anything for you as a human being to make sure I'm doing my part, please let me know. Every time you go to the bathroom, you go number 2. At least you have 5 minutes there, right?
Right.
So you start sending messages. If you even send 2 messages a minute, which you can do a lot more than that, in 5 minutes, you're reaching out to 10 people. You reach out to 10 people every day. By the end of that month, you have 300 people. By the end of that year, you've talked to 3,600 something people, right? So I don't know what you mean by networking. I just hit people up, say, hey man, how you doing? What's going on? You want to do something? Let's do something, right? You reached out to me. You were kind enough to take time out of your precious day to say, hey man, what are you about? Can we get you on? You said podcast guest.
Right.
Absolutely, brother. What do you need? What can I do? How can I serve you? You say, hey, if you could just hop on my podcast, that would mean a lot. Done. Anything else I can do for you? I'm genuinely, sincerely asking. If you can, I can do anything for you, your family, your son. I'm there for you 100%. Because here's the truth: we're all dying, and this right here is my life insurance policy. I don't have money to pay for life insurance. I don't want to. And because of my tumors, they won't qualify me. But if I do a favor for George today, and another one tomorrow, another one the third day, by the fourth time, you're like, all right, whoa. Like, so now, what do you want from me? What can I do for you?
Right.
Well, I choose that when I'm gone, if Christy or Claire give you a call, if their car is broken down on the side of the road, please just pick up that phone call. I don't want anything from you at all. The only thing I would ask for is that after I'm gone, just make sure you're there for my family. And people resonate with that kind of stuff, right? You can say the same thing because, again, you have the same condition I have. You're dying too. You don't know which one of these lasts, right? So networking, whatever you call it, right? You just say hello to people. Every time I walk on the streets, hey, how you doing? Beautiful shoes, right? Here's what I learned from a very, very good book that I highly suggest all your audience go listen to it or at least read it. It's called How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Oh yeah, definitely. Popular book. Okay.
Very popular book, right? I read that book 3 times because it was very valuable. It says, I think one of the first chapters said, look at somebody, pick out something that they have sincerely that you really truly admire or appreciate about them, and you just compliment on that, because people can smell BS from a million miles. If you're like, oh yeah, blah, 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 people will know that. But if I'm really sincere and I'm really genuine, people are like, whoa, thanks, man. Like that felt good, right? Today, I have enough confidence to even compliment our sisters, and I don't worry about it anymore, right? Because I'm literally dying. I used to worry about that. I was like, oh man, I hope they don't take it, the wrong way or nothing.
Right.
But if your heart is pure, if I can say this on camera, if you have no shit in your pants, you ain't got to worry about nothing, right? You just say, this is me. This is what I am. I really genuinely think you're beautiful.
Right.
Beauty is a mathematical formula. If your face are like mine, you see my nose is crooked a little bit to this side, right? But if your face is like really symmetrical, in today's world, we call that beautiful, right? If you have certain features, if your jawline, for example, is straight, we call that beautiful. If you're hairy like me, we call you ugly, right? It's just how it works. So if I can find something genuine about you that I really appreciate, and I give you that compliment without having any strings attached to you or anything else like that, then I can really, truly network the right way. Out and about, all day long, every day.
Right. Jeez. That was a lot. Okay. What do, like, a typical day look like for you? Is it just, because you say you like to have fun basically every day. So do you have any kind of schedule, or you just go with the flow?
I don't know. I have a calendar. I try to do 5 to 10 meetings every single day. That's the only thing that's kind of pre-scheduled and stuff. But frankly, like for me, I'm still a free soul, like if this conversation sucked, you know what I would have done? I would say, thank you very much. I really appreciate this. I've got to go. And I'll just go right across the street, grab a bunch of ice cream. I'll go fly a kite. You got to realize, George, you got 2 chemicals in your brain that run your life. When something bad happens, your brain produces anxiety. When something good happens, it produces endorphins. That's how the clock works. When I realized that about me, I was like, I can pull this other lever every time I want. Why would I sit here if I feel like, oh, he's judging me, I don't like this, blah, blah, blah. If I feel that way, then I go across the street, I pull the other lever of serotonin all day long. I'll go shoot guns. I'll go fly a kite. I'll go help an orphanage. I can do whatever the hell I want. Right. Nobody gives a crap, right? So that's how I behave for myself. So yes, I have some scheduled stuff on the corporate side that I have to get to and stuff, but on a day-to-day basis, if I get to wake up, then I want to try to play with as many toys as I possibly can get my hands on.
Right. And I know this might sound crazy, but because you had a near-death experience, how often do you think about death? Every day?
Oh, yeah.
You think that's healthy? Just... Well, I mean, because, this is what I mean by that, because many people, they going through life and they never had no experience, not even a broken leg, you know? So you don't take life for granted. But so I know people who don't even go to funerals. Every time I go to a funeral, it kind of like, it remind me what's important because that person's life just ended, you know? But people who, if you like don't think about it, you can just go through life thinking everything's lasts forever, you know?
For sure. It really depends on what you associate as the meaning to the word death.
Right.
What does it mean for you?
You're no longer alive. You're gone. You had a funeral.
See, that would produce anxiety in my head. If I'm no longer alive, no longer this and that, whatever, you lose a lot of good thoughts on that, right?
Right.
You start guessing. So for me, somebody told me this and I love it. Death is the safest thing you're ever going to go through. Name one human being that was dying and all of a sudden something went wrong.
Yeah.
So death to me is inevitable. Again, they keep telling us what time it is because they're trying to get us to do something else. They keep talking about that death because they want to sell us life insurance. They keep talking about that death because they keep wanting to save our money so we can put it in the bank so they can lend it back to us for a lot more interest.
Right.
They talk about death as if it's the worst thing ever. But if every single one human being has gone through, that's normal. If everybody talks, talking becomes normal, brother.
Right.
If everybody claps, clapping is not abnormal anymore. Somebody clapping, you're not like, oh, somebody clapped? It's like, yeah, everybody dies. And death is not the end of your story. That's
Right.
where I stop being this character on the floor down here on earth. I go to that 30,000 foot view. Somebody told me I was crying in a park when they first told me my diagnosis. And he was a Buddhist gentleman, and he came up and I didn't know him. He was a tall, skinny guy with a lot of beard all the way down here. And I was just kind of sitting on the bench, just like, crying. He was just like, kiddo, what are you crying about? I looked up, I was like, sir, I'm dying. I'm scared shitless. I don't know what to say. And he laughed. He was like, seems to me you'd be a lot more useful to other people if you died rather than you being alive. Don't you think?
What?
What? What did you say to me? And he was like, well, before you get all weird, you're sitting in this park, but you see that temple over there, that's a Buddhist temple. I'm a Buddhist. I'm a spiritual guy. So here's what I would tell you. If you die today, what's going to happen? I was like, my life is over. Like, no, not really, actually. You die today, we're going to bury you, right? I said, sure. He's like, what happens next? I guess I decompose. I said, good. And then you become fertilizer. You go in this tree, you become nutrition. And if you're lucky, maybe you can become a molecule of oxygen for those kids. You see those kids over there playing? What if you could become a molecule of oxygen to Dr. Martin Luther King? Don't you think you're a lot more useful then? Well, here you are, as a human being, just sitting here alone, by yourself, only worrying about your own circumstances. What are you doing for everybody else? You see this universe, this earth is rotating for you. It's not rotating for itself. You can't show me one single river that flows for itself. It flows so you can pollinate everything else. All these mosquitoes, insects, they totally are absolutely perfect. They do anything and everything they can to make sure you have this beautiful surrounding around you. And on the flip side, there's just a perfect number of lizards and frogs doing their perfect job to make sure we don't get overtaken by mosquitoes. The sun is not shining for itself, is it? It's shining for you, kiddo. So what the hell are you doing for everybody else? 200 or 300 years ago, you and I's ancestors gave us the life, the beautiful life we have today. What are you and I doing for 20 to 30 minutes from now, let alone 200 to 300 years from now?
Right.
Does that make sense? So that's why I started attaching myself to the idea of, okay, I'm a natural part of this ecosystem. I can't die. If you died, we just talked about 2 trillion galaxies. Where are you going to go? You got nowhere to go. This is it, man. This is it. If you don't enjoy your time now, then you're going to be miserable for the rest of your life because you're going to keep focusing on that mirage over there saying, oh, okay. If I just do this and then I get to there, right, and then I'll be happy.
Right.
And if you don't mind, I'll leave you with this, my last thoughts. Your brain plays tricks on you all the time. But if it's my goddamn brain, I'm better be in control of it versus it being in control of me. Majority of human beings, they leave their life to chances. They leave their life to their brain. Depending on what chemical it produces, then I act and react and live my life like that. I could be happy-go-lucky, happy as a clam today. I'm driving by, somebody flips me off. I don't even know the dude. But all of a sudden, like, my day just becomes bad. I'm a girl. I like myself. I'm happy. And then the boy I like, he's like, oh, you know what? You're fat. all of a sudden my whole life turns upside down for years, if not decades, right? But that's not normal. That's not natural. Somebody says something, that shouldn't affect me. If monkey A goes up to monkey B, says, wow, wow. Let's say he was supposed to say woo, woo. But he said, wow, wow.
Right.
Why would monkey B walk around for the rest of her life or his life worrying about stuff? It just doesn't make sense. Just because somebody pushed a different kind of air through these couple of muscles, like if you did this a couple of times, curls,
right,
that shouldn't affect me. People say weird stuff to me all the time on social media. What doesn't affect me is somebody sitting there rubbing their little finger on their little keyboard on their iPhone. That doesn't hurt me. I come from places that people get killed just walking on the streets. So I'm happy. It doesn't bother me at all. Are you with me? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense, but it's extremely difficult. Like say people get bad news. So in your day, you might not consider it bad news the way you think. But say I get a flat tire on the way to work, and now you late to work, and somebody might call that a bad day. Do you get stressed out or anything?
Of course, man. I'm still a human being. So yeah, of course I get stressed out. But the truth is, you got to go back to your natural being. Have you ever seen a tree lose a branch and stop producing oxygen?
No.
So today, my baby girl could die. My wife could die. Everybody I love could die. And I'm going to mourn today. But you know what I'm going to do tomorrow? I'm going to be back out there at the next orphanage. Because those orphans still need a buddy. I mean, I still got to produce oxygen. I lost a branch. That really sucks for me. But truth is, I still got to produce oxygen. The sun has explosions on a regular basis. But have you ever seen the sun be like, today's been a hard day, man. Screw it. I'm not going to produce oxygen or sun anymore. That would be a bad day for the rest of us. I don't care what happens to you, George. You got a job to do. You got to do that job. You're inspiring people right now. You're inspiring me. I started following you. I started looking at your stuff. I saw that you left your job. I saw that you've been doing this for a minute, and that's why I admire you. I swear to God, man. Like, let me show you this really quick. As I'm just sitting here trying to talk to you, how many text messages do I have?
Geez, 218.
Right, because I say hello to everybody, right? But you hit me up, something fell in my heart. But yo, you got to answer George right now, go for it. And that's how it works. You just put it out there and people come through, right? Bad news, good news doesn't make me any different than what I have to do as my job. I still have a job to do and I got to deliver on that because that's my natural state of being. Frogs, their family dies all the time, but they won't stop eating other mosquitoes because that's their job.
Right.
You with me on that? A seed in the wind doesn't care where it gets dropped off. Wherever it gets dropped off, its job is to grow as much as possible. Remember that, okay?
Got it. Jeez, that was much needed right there. It was different from all my other podcasts because more is more business. And you know, me, if you look at some of my videos, like as a kid, we used to always shoot rabbits, right? We didn't even eat them. We just shoot them with the BB gun because we had BB gun. And now look at it like rabbits be in my yard now, and I won't shoot them or touch them. I don't bother them because it's kind of like a sign that it's peace. They feel safe on this land. You know what I mean? So I walk right by and literally the rabbit be like this close, won't even move, you know? And it's like, geez.
Good for you. If you need to kill because you have to survive as a family, go for it. That's what you and I as ancestors have done. But like I said, no lion is ever as stupid as human beings. Because I don't see lions piling up dead meat over dead meat over dead meat all day long. It's like, no. I ate my piece and that's it. And if you, God forbid, you ever shoot a rabbit, donate it to a homeless shelter.
Right. All right. Last couple questions. We out of here. Oh, you gotta get out.
Brother, I'm very sorry. My podcast is going a little bit longer. Is there any chance I can call you back?
Yes, that's right. Call me back.
Thank you so much.
All right. Last two questions. If you could hang with a person that mentor you for a day, who would it be?
Dr. Martin Luther King's mentor. Because everybody looks at these big characters, but you and I both know these big characters didn't just become big characters by themselves. My interest is who was teaching Dr. Martin Luther King, who was teaching MLK, Malcolm X. That's who I want to hang out with. I don't want to hang out with Dalai Lama. I want to hang out with Dalai Lama's mentor. So that's who I want to hang out with.
If you could solve one thing in the entire world, what would it be?
Self-judgment. I think a lot of times you're a lot nicer to me as a stranger than you are to yourself. I even feel that with you, George. I have a feeling that you might be judging yourself all the time.
Right.
And it bothers me to know that you're a good human being, constantly being an asshole to yourself. You're so much nicer to me, and you don't even know me from Adam, right?
Right.
You're not as nice to yourself. So if I can solve one problem, I would say that's self-love, that's self-judgment.
Yeah. It's probably because, you know, a lot of times me, like you said, I'm from a small city. I'm just on here doing my thing. And like even yesterday, I talked to the guy, Max Maxwell. He got millions of followers and he reached out to me. I'm like, what? You know what I mean? But it's like, things like that keep happening.
Absolutely.
All right. What's your version of the new American dream? The old American dream is, you know, you work one job for 30, 40 years and retire. What's your version of the new American dream in 2020?
I think freedom, man. I think, again, the biggest thing is that slavery hasn't gone away. It's just taking a different norm, right? It's just taking a different form, right? So for me, especially coming from an outside the country, the biggest thing for me is, you know, is freedom of speech. Where I grew up, I didn't have freedom of speech. My parents would drive me around and we would go to Germany and I would go back to Iran. I would have questions like, how come women have so much freedom over there, but they don't have it over here, right? So to me, that freedom is key. You and I right now, we can say anything we want about the president, can't we?
Well, yeah, you can.
You want to get assassinated, right?
I don't know who'll be listening to this.
But for real, though, I mean,
But,
whatever you want about the Democrats and Republicans right now, we want to get assassinated.
No, yeah, you're right.
But you try doing the same thing in Saudi Arabia. It just can't work, right? So for me, the new American dream is upholding our freedom, whatever that means. The white picket fence, I don't know if that's for everybody, you know? But
Right.
if it makes you happy, by all means, go for it. As the libertarian style, I guess, influencer, I like everybody's freedom. I don't care who you are. Like, if you want to have homosexuality, if you want to have same-sex marriage,
Right.
who the hell am I to judge that, right? I have my own beliefs and I come from a different background and so on and so forth. But I also have to realize that thank God the trees don't judge me. Because if the trees only made oxygen for certain people, I would have been screwed, right?
Right.
I don't judge anybody. I don't care who you are. My job is to produce as much oxygen for you too, right? If I'm the sun, I shine on everybody from Mother Teresa all the way to Hitler and everybody else in between. And the judgment is up to somebody else or to your own subconscious, right? So that's where I stand on that.
Hey, thanks, Ash Sobhe. Hey, let people know where they can find you at website or social media.
You can always find me at ASHSOBHE on every social media, or if you want to text me, 775-372-2008 is my number. 775-372-2008. Text me anytime.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you, brother. Thank
All
you.
right. Talk to you later.
You too.